Hey up everybody, and welcome back to the Audi Cycling YouTube channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Tour de Romandie. Apologies for not making videos the last week. I've been on holiday, so I haven't really had the ability to record, but I thought I'd quickly make a Romandie preview ahead of it starting tomorrow. So taking a look at the stage profiles, we start with a prologue, which is 3 kilometers long, usually produces some weird winners over the years. Stage 1, plenty of altitude and kind of a very rolly terrain, 1 kilometer at almost 7% to finish off with, so it's going to be a bit of a mixed group, I think, going for victory there. Stage 2, well, kind of stage 3 is a lot more climbing than stage 1. Well, no, actually, no, it's less climbing than stage 1, but it looks like there's just it's more severe, but it's a flatter finish, so maybe it can come back together for a sprint. Stage 3 is a punchy finish up to Cosenay. Stage 4 up to Taillon 2000, 20 kilometers at 7.7%. Realistically, this is where the GC is going to be decided rather than these punchy stages. And then we got the individual time trial around Geneva to finish off with, which Evenepoel is probably the favourite for. Speaking of which, Evenepoel is also the most expensive rider at 28 credits. He won by Bronze-Sipel, he was on the podium of Amstel Gold Race, but then was a little bit missing in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. I still don't really know why. This article here from Cycling News, he says that, they say, Soudal Quickstep, that he's taken it day by day, which is just like the most annoying passive comment for every rider seems to make. Evenepoel is a really good rider to be picking. He will need to be essentially winning GC to be worth it, but could he take multiple stage wins along the way? Yes. Realistically, could he get northwards of 800 points? Yes. It just depends whether you might want to sacrifice him to try and get more riders who will be finishing inside the top 10 and also competing for some of those stages as well. So Evenepoel is the safe pick, but maybe not the most value for money pick. Almeida is a little bit better. He's 6 credits cheaper. He should be realistically finishing on the podium of this race. He's also got a good time trial. He's got a very good team here. That Taillon 2000 finish is very suited to him. So I like Almeida for this. I think he's a podium candidate, and I think that he is also very safe. Rodriguez was looking alright in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. He had that crash in the UAE Tour, I want to say it was. But yeah, Rodriguez is alright. He might finish on the podium. He won this race last year. His only problem is that 18 credits, that's quite expensive for a guy who's going to need to be getting realistically about 600 points to be worthwhile. And with lots of other riders here, he's not the punchiest rider. He's not the best time trialist. So I'm not sure about Rodriguez being the best value for money rider. I think he'll still get 400-ish points or so, but I think there might be other riders who will score similar, but might be a bit cheaper. I think Lenny Martinez is a great pick. He was, very good in La Flèche-Wallonne when it was pretty bad weather, and I think that Romandie is kind of renowned for having some bad weather in there as well, so I think Martinez is really good. He's got a decent-ish time trial as well. He's the team leader, so I think Martinez is good. Van Eetvelt is very punchy, very quick, so I think on perhaps stage 1, stage 2, if it were to come back to a bit of a sprint amongst GC riders, and stage 3 as well, I think those are climbs really suited to him. Taillon 2000 not so much, and the time trials definitely not, so he really needs to be capitalising on these punchy stages, and I think that he could definitely do that. It's just that he'll suffer from the time trial. Vlasov I also like. He's won this race in the past. He was second last year, and I think that Vlasov has had a lackluster start to the year, but he generally goes quite well in this race, and he is quite punchy. And he's got a decent time trial. So I think Vlasov is also a little bit underrated and might be overlooked just because of his poor results so far this year. The 14 credit riders aren't that tempting to me. Godou we haven't seen in a couple of months, although he was alright at the start of the year. Only, yes, he'll be good for the punchy stages, but unlike Van Eetvelt, I don't think his pure climbing is as good. Therefore, he won't be up there in GC, so I'm not sure if he'll be worth it. And Jay Vine, I think, will just be a domestique, but he does have a good TT, and he might finish top 10 just by being the last man for Almeida, possibly. on the mountains. The 12 credit riders, Brennan, of course. I think Brennan could do very well in the prologue for sure. Maybe stage 1. It just depends how aggressively this last sort of 30k is raced, and maybe he can make stage 2 on that finish if he can make it over La Chaumont, which is no mean feat, 3k at 11%. But the thing is with Brennan, even if he wins all 3 of those 3 stages, he will just about, well no, he would be worth it if he won all 3 of those stages, but it's not an absolute certainty that he's going to be competing in these ones, so it's a little bit of a risk. Champussin and Fortunato are safer because they will, Fortunato will be their GC hope, Champussin will be up there for the stage wins on those punchier stages, so yeah, he might be alright, but is he going to lose out in GC? Yes, he probably will do. Groschark will be a domestique, but he can do a good time trial, so maybe he gets about 150 points. Van der Lame was very good in this race last year. Obviously, that warrants the price increase from 8 credits that he was last year. And I think, is a little bit of a better climber than Brennan is, so is more likely to make those stages 2 and 3, but probably won't do as well in the prologue. So it's a little bit of back and forth, but Van der Lame could be good because he can also get in a breakaway. And if those stages go to a break, then he could be right up there too. Baudin was prevalent in Liège from what I remember, but not fantastic. But EF don't have a big leader in this race, therefore Baudin might be alright. Bissiger just for the prologue and the time trial, pretty much. If he does, if he gets 3rd place in both of those, he gets 200 points, which isn't really that worthwhile for a 10 credit rider. Bittner I don't think will make the climbs. Castillo had a good start to the year, but has been a little bit off it recently. There's also Javier Romo here and Ivan Romeo. So I don't know who Movistar will be going with, but they'll do good in Team GC. Jan Christen I like as well. He was very good in La Flèche Wallonne after a period of coming back from injury. And I think that he could be very good for some of the punchy stages. And in a home race, I think that he's always quite a deadly pick. Kuznefroy possibly coming back from whatever is wrong with him. Kung is very similar to Bissiger in that he's limited to the time trials, but he could do very well there. APP I was hoping for a bit more from in Liège-Bastogne-Liège to be wanting to pick him here. So I'm not overly confident, but in theory he could be good for the punchy stages and maybe snagging a top 10. Plap I kind of like, apart from the fact that, the Tour de Rhodes or it was some Greek race and he didn't even win GC there. Like he won a stage, but it was kind of like not a particularly strong field. But he has a decent TT, he should be the team leader, and at 10 credits, some of these GC guys at 10 credits are usually quite good value for money, so Plap is quite a good one. Romeo, if he can find that, that UAE Tour form, then he'll be deadly for sure, and he's got a good TT in there as well, so Romeo I think is nice and safe. Tejada is a little bit hit and miss. Good, he's very much a good puncher, but as a pure climber, not so much. So Tejada's a bit of a strange one, although we can pull out some decent TTs, it must be said. G, probably not. Van Zevenont will be domestiquing for Evenepoel. Zylard will probably win the prologue, but that's not really worthwhile for a 10 credit rider. He was 6 credits last year, which made it worthwhile. 10 credits is just a bit steep for me. I'd much rather take a Plap or a Romeo or Christen or Castillo for the GC. The 8 credit riders, Barre has been on some fantastic form, it must be said, in the Ardennes, and therefore those punchy stages or getting him a breakaway is going to be really, really interesting to see what he can do. Foldaga can get involved in some of the sprints as well, so that's not too bad. Menton, maybe. If he can make the climbs, he might sprint. Nordhagen is very interesting. He's a big risk because he hasn't done that well this year, but he was top 30 in La Flèche Wallonne. I think it was about 20th place, 25th, something like that. And he's kind of just building, and I think that he could be a really big overachiever for the price that he is, but it is a big risk when you got other riders like, say, Javier Romo, who might be a safer choice for the same price. Ivo Oliveira for the prologue, and maybe gets involved in a sprint or two. He did in the Giro d'Abruzzo, and he'll get assist points from Almeida and people. So Oliveira is pretty good. Romo, like I mentioned, for the overall GC is actually quite good. Price Peterson possibly, but again, he's you're relying pretty much solely on the TTs, I think, at 8 credits. And he's not the best, like he's good, but he's going to have to be pretty incredible. And maybe Archie Ryan, probably not, he hasn't been that great. The 6 credit riders, Leo Bizeo, he was what? I think he was 5th in Paris Camembert. He was working for Paul César. And I think that, Bizeo is pretty good. He was, up there in Tour de l'Avenir last year. He's a good climber. And I don't think that, I wouldn't, they've got APP here, but maybe Bizeo can get his own opportunity here. Or get him a breakaway, Speaking of breakaways, Cavagna's really good, for the time trial and getting in breaks. But, he was dropped pretty early in some breakaway and Ardennes race. I can't remember exactly which one it was. Yeah, other than him, you don't have lots. You got, McClay, Nerurka could be interesting. We haven't seen much of him this year, but he is a very good puncher, and I do like him. So Nerurka for sure. Finlay Pickering was very active in the Tour of the Alps. He won the mountains classification, so maybe he tries to do that again if Bahrain let him to. Rafferty, I'm a big fan of as well. He hasn't had the results this year, but if he can get in some breaks, I think he'll do really good. Rojas, Groupama. Don't have loads of options here, but I think that Rojas is a good puncher, and for some of those punchier stages in the second and third day, I think he's really good. Rondel, Giro d'Abruzzo, top 5. He's the number 1 for Tudor Pro Cycling in their team order. So I think that Rondel, an interesting one for a top 15 in GC. Sobrero is actually very good at prologues and for that time trial at the end, plus maybe some assist points or breakaways. So Sobrero, I'm a big fan of as well. Pablo Torres, I think he'll just be a domestique, but assist points and maybe a Hail Mary top 20 might not be a bad shout. Henry Erlig, if he can get involved in the sprints like Brennan can, maybe he could be a decent choice too, as could Sam Watson. He can climb quite well too. And I think that he'll be, he could well be up there on some of those stages as well. For 4 credit riders, I like Jorge Arjas just because of the assist points on Movistar and the team classification. That's pretty much it. De Bruyne can climb or okay. He might get involved in some of the more punchy stages, I suppose. Considering that Alpecin don't have a massive leader here. You might go with Timon Glatt for assist points on Brennan, I suppose, or just any number of assist points. I actually think that Michael Leonard could be a decent choice. He won the Tour de l'Avenir prologue last year, and he seems like he got a top 10 in the... which time trial was it? Was it the Itzulia Basque Country TT? I think he got 10th. So I think that Leonard could actually be a decent choice, as could Artem Schmidt just for Ineos assist points. And other than them, Max van der Meulen for getting in a breakaway, Lo Van Bell might get in a breakaway, or any of the Tudor Pro Cycling guys. This is my team at the moment. It's by no means set. I'm very much deliberating. In fact, I kind of look at this team and I don't really like it. But anyway, at the moment I've got Evenepoel, Lenny Martinez, Vlasov, Plapp, Kristen, Sobrero, Erlig, Arjas, and Leonard. I might well change this and not go with Evenepoel and go with Almeida. It's a big risk, I realise that. And then not go with Plapp and go with Van Aertveld. I kind of like that. I might not go with Erlig just because it's very much banking on the sprints. I might go with Watson instead. They're kind of a like-for-like pick. I might go with Rondel if I wanted to be a bit more focused on the GC, which is probably a smart choice. So I might go with something a bit more like this. But I'm not absolutely certain on it, to be honest with you. Again, trying to get Evenepoel and Almeida in there is incredibly difficult, and it really limits the rest of your team. So if anybody's got some good suggestions, put that in the comment section down below, alongside any of your other teams and any riders which I might have missed. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there, and I will see you. Next video will be the Giro d'Italia, which I'm really looking forward to. Hope you guys are too. And I'll see you next time. Sally.